So I'm Dr. Monica Lesslie. I'm a physical therapist and a longevity professional. I specialize in working with the physical body and the nervous system, and then integrating emotional, mental, and even spiritual health along with that. And I truly believe that we are capable as humans of accomplishing so much potential, our capacity, and pure healing in our bodies if we create the right environment inside of ourselves to do just that. And in order to be able to accomplish these big things that we can do as humans when we put our attention on it, we do need physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. And so, as a physical therapist, people are sometimes caught a little off guard because we might go into things that aren't just physical body related. And I've noticed in the entirety of my career, when I started to bring in those other factors, the results skyrocketed. And the duration and the carryover and the longevity of those results really became exceptional compared to when I was just doing the normal PT stuff early in my career.
I would like to back up a little bit because I know also that you are a yogi. So, talking specifically about your physical therapy, do you find that there's any yogi experience that comes into your practice as a physical therapist? What does that look like?
Absolutely. So, the yoga practitioner side of myself was actually one of the first avenues that I took after becoming a doctor of physical therapy, because when I first started practicing, I noticed that there were some holes in what we learned in PT school on how to be a really effective physical therapist and work with other humans and make as much progress with them as possible. And one thing that I noticed was that people were not very connected to their bodies. So I could spend an entire session trying to explain and teach someone how to engage their core muscles. And if they weren't used to it and they didn't have a strong mind body connection, sometimes there would be minimal to no contraction, or sometimes people would just contract their entire body because they're trying to access their abs. And I didn't have the verbiage or really the education to guide someone in how to connect their mind into their body. I knew how to do manual therapy, I knew how to teach exercise, but that was a missing link that I didn't have strong education on. So when I understood that there was that loophole, okay, or there was that hole in my training, I thought to myself, what can I go and learn that will help me fill this gap in my education? And that is when I found yoga. I was practicing a lot on my own at that time as well, but I really wanted to be able to go deep and be able to teach others how to connect mind and body. And so I went to Bali. I took a 200-hour teacher program, and then that was not enough for me. I needed more, and then went back and did my 750 hours also in Bali and Vancouver. And since then, it has not exited my repertoire of how I work with a client or a patient on a daily basis. And it also is ingrained in how I use my own body and mind on a regular basis. So I used to teach a lot. I've done many retreats around the world. I don't teach regular yoga practices anymore. I integrate yoga into my CFR practice
Okay.
and lessons that I teach people that way. But I would say that yoga in general weaves itself in some way or another into the way that I speak to people, the way that I work with a client or a patient one on one, and how I teach them how to use and also connect to their own body and their heart and their gut and their intuition, and increase their overall sensitivity to feeling what they're actually doing. Because I'm sure you know, as when you train people, sometimes you can be asking someone to do something or not do something, and they have no idea that they're doing or not doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
They just don't recognize it. And if we can increase people's sensitivity to what they're doing, everything gets better, because we can't change something unless we know we're doing it in the first place. And so it is an avenue for change that I use with people.
Great. And I know that I have a client that you um, referred her to me who was obsessed with CFR, obsessed. And she'll often like stop in the middle of my session and go, now, how would I do this the CFR way? So let me just bounce over to my question here. what was a specific, where would you say, can you highlight a case where you saw that CFR did something beyond physical therapy?
Yeah, let me think about that. So I would say that in almost every case, it does something beyond physical therapy because it is working with all four of our major bodies: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. So when there's two components to CFR, one is called a floor lesson, where there's the teacher or the instructor and the student, and this can be done one-on-one or with groups. And then there's table work, which is exclusively done one-on-one with people. The table work is more of a passive modality. I'm moving their body and their nervous system gets to sense it. And then the floor work is an active modality where I'm giving specific instructions and the people or client are doing those instructions. So the thing that goes beyond physical therapy is the emotional component that can arise that is not planned, right? So sometimes if someone is working on their shoulder, so we're working on reducing a compensation to a very simple example that has happened to me more than 30 times. Um, Someone raises their shoulder like this. So they're lifting, if anyone's just listening to the audio, they're lifting their shoulder as they reach their arm overhead versus letting the shoulder blade drop as they reach the arm overhead. This is the more functional way to do it. This is the compensated way to do it. And there are exceptions to both of those. So it's not 100% all the time. For people, when they realize through CFR that they've been doing this for so long and they finally have an experience where they on their own discover that they can do this movement and how good it feels, they will oftentimes have an emotional response to that. And it's this freedom that comes of, I don't have to hold this anymore. And
Mm.
people connect to that in different ways. Everyone's story is different, but the emotional release is a similar feeling inside. It is freedom, it is ease, it is sometimes sadness or grief that, oh, I don't have to carry this with me anymore. Um, so that is a significant response.